You finally get someone to open up, maybe a friend, a coworker, your partner, or a significant other. And for a moment, you can feel the connection deepen. Then it hits you. What do I say now? It's that split second where your mind races for the right words, but your heart knows silence might say more. You don't want to make it awkward, and you definitely don't want to ruin the moment. But silence can feel uncomfortable, and the wrong response can make someone shut down again. That's what we're going to fix today. Because knowing how to get people to open up is one thing, but knowing how to keep them talking once they do, that's the real art of connection. Because keeping someone talking isn't about finding clever questions. It's about creating enough safety for them to keep sharing what matters most. In this past video, we talked about elicitation, how to guide conversations so people naturally open up without you asking direct questions. If you missed that one, it's worth watching later because these two skills work best together. One helps you start deeper conversations, the other helps you sustain them. But once someone starts sharing, your role changes. You move from eliciting to nurturing. Think of it like planting a seed. Elicitation helps it sprout, but nurturing is what allows trust and honesty to grow over time. This is where emotional safety, trust, and depth start to grow. Because what you say next and how you say it can turn a fragile moment into lasting trust. So how do you keep that trust alive once someone opens up? Let's start with the first key, but let me quickly remind you about what elicitation is. Elicitation is the gentle art of drawing out someone's thoughts, stories, and emotions without making them feel interrogated. It's less about asking the perfect question and more about showing genuine curiosity, the kind that make people feel safe enough to open up in the first place. And that's where the next step begins, by showing them that it's safe to keep talking, that you're not there to judge, fix, or rush them. You do that through reflection, the first key to keeping conversations open and real. The first key is to reflect instead of react. Most people think they need to respond with advice or reassurance. But when someone opens up, what they really want is to feel heard. Instead of reacting with solutions, reflect on what you hear. If someone says, "I've just been so overwhelmed lately," don't rush to say, "You'll be fine. Everyone gets stressed sometimes." That closes the door. Instead, reflect it back. "Sounds like you've had a lot on your plate. That must be exhausting." That one question does more than advice ever could. It says, "I get it. I see you. I'm listening." Reflection is what earns you trust, but what you do next determines whether that trust deepens or disappears. So once they open up, how do you keep the momentum going? You invite them to share more, gently. The second key is to use open-ended follow-ups. This is where you expand the conversation. When someone opens up, the worst thing you can do is switch back to yes or no questions. Keep the space open with gentle, open-ended follow-ups. Try this. "What helped you get through that?" "That sounds important. How long have you been feeling that way?" "Tell me more about what made that stand out for you." These aren't interrogations, they're invitations. They show genuine curiosity and let the other person stay in control of what they share. If this kind of mindful communication speaks to you, what real connection matters more than small talk? You're in the right place. Here, we focus on conversations that build trust and understanding, not pressure or performance. And here's where things get interesting. It's not just what you ask, but how you ask it. Because even the best questions won't matter if your tone doesn't match the moment. The third key is to match their emotional energy. People open up most when they feel emotionally matched. If they're calm and you seem overly enthusiastic, the energy clash breaks trust. If they're emotional and you sound detached, they'll close off. So match their tone and tempo. If someone speaks softly, lower your voice too. If they sound upbeat about something positive, mirror that likeness. Connection isn't just built through words, it's built through rhythm. When your emotional energy meets theirs, the conversation feels safe and natural. But sometimes it's not your words or your tone that matters most. It's what you don't say. And that brings us to one of the most underrated communication skills there is. The fourth key, use silence as a tool. Here's something most people overlook. Silence is powerful. When someone shares something vulnerable, resist the urge to fill every gap of silence. A short pause communicates presence. It gives space for the other person to think, feel, and go deeper. Instead of jumping in with another question, try saying, "That sounds like it's been a lot to process." Then pause. Count to 3 if you need to. You'll be surprised how often they fill the silence with something even more meaningful. It's not about controlling the conversation. It's about allowing space for honesty to unfold. And when the moment finally does unfold, when they've shared something real, what you do next matters more than anything you've said so far. Because ending a deep conversation the right way is what determines whether they'll ever open up again. This brings us to the 5th key: close the loop gracefully. Knowing how to end a vulnerable moment is just as important as how it starts. When someone opens up, don't abruptly change the topic or try to lighten the mood. That can feel like rejection. Instead, close the loop with gratitude. Say, "Thanks for trusting me with that." Or, "I really appreciate you sharing that. It helps me understand you better." This tells them their openness was respected, not risky. And it makes it easier for them to open up again in the future. When you put all these pieces together, reflection, open-ended follow-ups, emotional matching, silence, and graceful closure, something powerful happens. Conversations stop feeling forced or fragile. They start to flow. And more importantly, people start to trust you because they sense you're not just listening to reply, you're listening to understand. When someone opens up to you, it's a gift, but it's also a responsibility because how you respond shapes whether they'll ever open up again. When you listen with reflection, openness, and empathy, conversations stop feeling like work and start feeling like connection. You become the kind of person people trust with their truth. And once you build that level of trust, something amazing happens. You start hearing more than just words. You begin to understand what other people aren't saying. That's exactly what we'll explore in the next video. How to read between the lines and recognize the emotions behind every conversation. Because when you do that, your communication goes from meaningful to unforgettable. The next step in mindful communication is learning how to recognize what people are really saying beyond their words. So if you found this video helpful, try one of these techniques in your next conversation and notice what happens. You'll be amazed at how much more people open up when they feel understood instead of just being analyzed. And when you're ready to go deeper, watch how to understand what people aren't saying. It's the next step in mastering mindful communication, hearing the truth beneath the answers. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep your conversations mindful. I'll see you in this next video.